Alright guys, Tom Lawrence here from highlyeffectiveleader.com. To be noticed in this world, it's essential that you challenge the norm and that you must do things differently. By going that extra mile and putting in that bit more effort, you will overachieve. When you overachieve, these things get noticed, hence you get noticed. A lot of people don't think that they should take pride in their work because it's only a job or they're being paid. The fact that you're being paid to do the job should fill you with more pride than if you were not being paid. When you take pride in doing the best work you can, it shows your leaders and your team that what you're doing is important to you. It builds trust and increases your influence. Taking pride in your work and overachieving will reflect the quality of work you do and also your character. Being driven to add value to the team by overachieving and taking pride in your work reflects who you are. To help your team overachieve too, you must first work on developing yourself. Even if you're not in a leadership position, you can do this by recommending improvements to the current ways that the team are working, or you can recommend improvements to the current processes that the team follows. You'll be well on your way to becoming an excellent team member and not an average team member. Basically, you will become the leader within your team, even though you may not be in the leadership position. After a period of time, your overachievements will become the new standard for everybody else to meet. Then, because the standards have altered, so will the processes that your team and all the other teams in the organization follow. When improving processes in any organization, it's a huge change. Most of the organizations I've worked with actually expect process improvement from the team members, but it's rare that it actually comes from them. It usually comes from consultants that have been hired in. A leader like you is more than capable of improving the working processes. You can be the one to set the new standard. As an example, when I worked for the train operating company in Liverpool as an engineer in 2009, the wheels on the train were not lasting as long as they should. They are supposed to last for approximately 6 years, but these were not even lasting 3 years. Something was wrong, and nobody was doing anything about it. The reason for that is because they didn't want to deal with the company who built the train tracks. Within the UK, the train companies and track companies are totally separate, so there's a lot of politics for whose fault it is when things go wrong. My job at the time was to deal with things that went wrong and provide as much evidence as possible to my boss, and then he would go and fight each incident that caused a delay in service with the track company every Friday morning. I went to a few of these meetings, and the discussions that they were having were laughable. A lot of moaning and whining and finger pointing was going on. So, after being involved in these meetings, I recommended to my boss that I take on the project to improve the interface between the train wheels and the track. My goal was to increase the wheel life and the track life and build a relationship between the two companies. I do like a challenge. I felt that this could be one of the biggest challenges in my career so far. It was a great opportunity to try and unite people too and help them to improve their processes. There was no better time and place to test myself and bring out my best. The first thing I did was approach the track company and ask them to nominate a person who I could work together on this project with. I had to involve them as much as possible if I was going to break down these barriers. Eventually, they nominated a guy called Mark, and he was a great guy to work with. He was a lot more experienced than I was, so I figured I could learn a lot from him. He told me that the tracks had lubricators that were placed around the Liverpool network. They were designed to lubricate both the wheels and the track to avoid friction and reduce the wear rate between the wheels. Ultimately, this was one of the ways that we would increase the life of the wheels on the track. However, this obviously wasn't working, so Mark and I worked together to improve how the lubricators were performing. We decided to increase the inspections and increase the rate of replenishment of the lubricating grease. We also tried to move the lubricators around the network every so often until we found the sweet spot for the wheels. At first, this worked well, and we could see a reduction in the incidents that involved the wheel and the track. However, both Mark and I became dissatisfied and needed to think of other methods or processes to improve the situation. So we had a number of joint meetings and involved more engineers from both companies. I was promoting the joint partnership to produce new ideas and better solutions. There was an engineer who worked for the same company as me called Ian. He was an excellent engineer. He always went the extra mile and was always trying to improve our processes. Most of all, he loved helping people in solving problems. He was a true leader within the engineering team, and his influence was ever increasing throughout the organisation and with me. Ian suggested that we speak with other train operating companies in the UK who had wheel lubricators fitted to their train and worked alongside the track lubricators. Taking his advice, Mark and I went to work. We spoke with the top companies in the country, and they all had the same opinion, that wheel lubricators do work and that we should adopt this method. So we did. Mark and I approached the manufacturers, had a trial fitted to one train for a month, which was very successful. We went through all the correct safety approvals, then within a few months, the whole fleet of trains was fitted with wheel lubricators. 10 years later, the trains are still fitted and the wheels are lasting and performing better than ever. The wheels are not quite hitting 6 years, but they are definitely within the 5 to 6 year range. The relationship between the two companies continues to work well too, and then following our project, there have been many more joint projects working successfully. I must admit, we overachieved on this project and beat everybody's expectations. Following this project, my level of responsibility raised. Then later down the line, I was offered a job in management working for Scottish Railways, which I accepted. Mark and I have kept in touch over the years, and he too has climbed the leadership ladder using similar principles to what I'm sharing in this program. All I did was recommend that we change a few things, that we bring people closer together, and we improve our processes. It isn't a lot, but it's had a huge impact on all involved. You can do something very similar in your industry and organisation. So take a look at what you've achieved in your life. Look at the ability that you have. Do your achievements match your ability? That's the question you must answer. If the answer is no, then what are you going to do to turn that no into a yes? So, action steps that I would like you to complete following this video. Number 1, go the extra mile with your current work and try to achieve more than you expected and beat your own expectations. Number 2, make overachieving as your team and your own new standard and help others to start overachieving too. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel to keep learning more strategies on leadership, personal growth, and influence that will benefit you in both your personal and professional life. Connect with me on my other social media channels too to keep in contact and up to date on what I am doing. And please visit my website, highlyeffectiveleader.com, to learn even more valuable strategies in the area of leadership, personal growth, and how you can increase your influence. Please download my free ebook, Grow Your Mindset, by clicking the link in the description below this video.